I can work with this.
Are you ready for more Pink Kryptonite? Well, it's happening. Pink Kryptonite first debuted in comic form in 2003 in the comic Supergirl 79 under Peter David at the very end of his run. This kryptonite is known in some circles as gay kryptonite, and there is fan art, there's some discussion, some who find the concept amusing, some who find it offensive, some who use it as fodder for smut. It's a kryptonite that changes, in quotes, the sexuality of a Kryptonian. It appears in one panel, yes, one panel, and is implemented as a throwaway joke mocking Silver Age stories wherein Superman would get into all kinds of random antics as a result of various kryptonites. It's only shown affecting Superman in this scenario. We did an entire video contextualizing that, so if you missed it, card and link. It has a lot to do with the 90s version of Supergirl, Linda Danvers. Pink largely vanished after that, as the idea that one's sexuality could be changed in such a way was coming to be viewed as problematic. Though time of recording, discussions of fluidity are rising again. In some circles, there's lots of discussions happening everywhere. Also, questions of consent and how dark this kryptonite could really get. If you followed it through in a non-lighthearted way, it could get really dark really fast, maybe even too dark for some of those writers who like to edge things up. Jokes can be very interesting, in that not only must they be contextualized in their time in order for them to fully come together and make sense as to what was going on and why they were made in the first place, whether they're in or out of date even for their time period, but they can also go in and out of fashion as time moves because of different societal discourse. Because nothing is stagnant, things are always moving, always changing. Though some argue that there are some things that are just universally funny. It's a very fascinating discussion. This may be why when this kryptonite managed to make its way into adaptive form in Justice League Action, it was still very much a joke, less throwaway and more focal, but it had a different effect. I initially missed this mention. As I like to say, comics and the lore surrounding it, adaptations, all those things, it's a journey. There's always something new to learn, something new to discover. I'm thrilled because I have more to talk about. More videos, more. I was happy to find that I had a new Justice League Action episode to watch, even though for some I must now bear the brand of shame for not bringing it up in the original video. 'Tis a deserved shame. Let us wallow in it for a moment.
Shame, 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 shame.
Anyway, this main kryptonite appearance doesn't actually occur in the Justice League Action main series, but rather in a short. Justice League Action shorts aired as a web series on the DC Kids YouTube channel in 2017. So this is the kind of thing that's going to be buried under the children's algorithm. Also, since it's explicitly made for kids, there will not be comments under the video. Though, since it is posted by a corporation, it will have targeted ads, unlike other videos that are specifically made for kids. There was a whole purging thing that happened a few years back. The lack of comments will matter in a bit, put a pin in it. Justice League Action itself was an animated DC series which ran from 2016 to 2018, and it was comprised of 52 episodes. It had an overall comedic tone, but would oftentimes make some very meta jokes or obscure deep cuts to various eras, such as frequently featuring the Space Cabbie, a long forgotten character to some. So in some ways, it's not surprising that I would mind the one-panel joke of Pink Kryptonite, since if one is deep in the Superman lore, it pops up in discussions. The short in question is called True Colors, and it aired on October 19th, 2017. It was the 13th short of 22. This short features Superman fighting Metallo. Firestorm arrives to help, and he's going to transform the kryptonite in his chest into another form. But instead, he ends up turning the kryptonite into various different colors, and shenanigans ensue. Red makes Superman uncontrollably angry. Red kryptonite's had a lot of effects, that is one of them, which should turn into a big ant. The gold one, instead of taking his powers away or making him weak, gives him amnesia. The black kryptonite in this splits him in two. Then it's time for pink. And in this iteration, it's Sailor Moon transforms him into a female form, which prompts this response.
I can work with this.
Firestorm finally gets the formula he's looking for. He wrote it on his arm. He transforms the kryptonite, Superman transforms back, all is right with the world. And then Firestorm, it turns out, filmed it and sends it to Batman even though Superman explicitly tells him not to and looks embarrassed about it. Humiliation. Hilarious. So here we have a genderbend effect. Genderbends are nothing new, especially in the context of comics. And to change Pink Kryptonite's effects in general makes sense on a couple of levels. On one hand, the original joke in the minds of many is not aged the best, more milk than wine. Also, the change needs to be something that can be easily translated onto screen, something visual, and something young kids will get without having to be explained to them, because Justice League Action skewed young in the demographic it was aiming for. If Superman suddenly started aggressively hitting on Metallo, it would have to really be over the top and stereotypical, leading into the parts of the joke many didn't care for. Also, this way you get a Sailor Moon and some other anime jokes in there, as there are characters who transform in exactly this manner. Get your weeb on. What's interesting about this to me, and why I decided to come back to this in full video form and not as a short or an add-on, was specifically something that was happening in discussions surrounding Pink Kryptonite from those who were aware of both iterations. And that was the idea that this newer updated joke was funnier than the original joke from 2003 and just better overall. That it was fun that Superman went with it, that guy turns into hot chick and kicks butt is empowering and feminist. I'm paraphrasing actual comments. The thing is, I'm curious if this sentiment will hold true over time. I'm fascinated by how things age and move through time and different perceptions, and to see if this joke is still well received in say 5 years time. Or if it's going to be viewed as something problematic, an evolution of the man in the dress dress trope, which is something that some already take issue with? Will it be found to be flippant, dismissive, and stereotypical as the original joke was? Can the joke escape its roots, basically? Also, it's hard to gauge how it's being reacted to overall right now, because as mentioned, this is a mini-sode, so there are no comments on it. To comment on it, you have to make a comment on some outside forum, and you have to be pretty into Justice League Action to do that. It feels like, just like the first iteration, this one is kind of gonna fall down a certain specific memory hole, destined to be remembered by some, but also to come up in that same manner as the first of, hey, wasn't there a Kryptonite, the gender-bent Superman? Another little thing for those in the know to bring up and be like, actually? Or could it end up like Aged Milk, a joke that is destined for hyperbolic YouTube titles? Things like, you won't believe what this DC Kids show did, or that disgusting Justice League Action short, or the True Colors video. All of those are great titles. Now I want to make those videos. So basically, I'm very curious to hear what you think. Do you prefer this version of the Pink Kryptonite joke to the first? Or do you feel both are funny in their own context and in their intent to just be silly? Or did neither tickle your fancy, and these topics should be treated seriously? Tell me, I want to hear. We can't comment on this Justice League Action short, and if you try and re-upload it, normally DC comes to your house, or AT&T does with some hired goons. But we can comment here. Is Pink Kryptonite a joke for the ages? Or is the concept something worthy of deep introspection? A pondering about how much our internal, external perceptions are within our own control? Or is it something to be buried? Put it away. Let's just make some new Kryptonites. It's time for plaid Kryptonite. It makes Kryptonians really into avant-garde fashion. I don't know. What would you make plaid do? Tell me things down below. While you're down there, please do all YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking a day spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.